What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to hop into another event guide, going to take a look at how to unlock Jedi Knight Revan. And one of the best things about this character is he's not overly difficult to unlock, and his event is not too bad. You can do it at quite low gear. So we will hop over and get that started. Before we do that, if this is your first time on the channel or have been watching for a while, have not hit that sub button down below, please consider doing that for some more videos, guides in the future. And to remember also to ring that bell for notifications so you don't miss out on anything. All right, let's hop over and we will take a look at this event. Going to give you guys a overview first of the characters that I use. So Bastila Shan and Jolee Bindo are the two main ones that you're going to focus on gearing up to make it through this. Now, I did this much earlier on. I think they were around gear 10. You definitely don't need a gear 12 or a Relic Jolee to make it through this event. You can take a look at kind of the mod sets that I've got here. And if you want some mod guides for Bastila and Jolee, I'll leave some links down below so you can check those out. And then for Mission and Zalabar, they're at gear 7, so they're not very geared out at all for this event. In T3 and 4, I didn't even bother for. So this is the first phase. You're going to be facing off against a Rancor with Revan. He is an event unit, and then you've got Mission and Zalabar. This can be done very easily at Gear 8. Or Gear 7, Gear 8. You don't have to worry about that. One of the best things, though, is you're going to want to make sure that you're throwing your blind up with Mission. It kind of helps mitigate some of the damage going out here. But other than that, you're just kind of waiting for your Revan to be able to damage through this. Zalabar will take up some hits, and Mission does pretty decent damage even at low gear, so she's pretty helpful here. But the blind comes in handy as far as mitigating damage to your team. But this one is pretty easy at gear 7. You're not have to worry too much about getting through this section of the event. All right, phase 2. This is another one that's pretty easy. Just one hint going into this. After you get Bastila in these, make sure you put her in the leadership slot, because her bonuses will go over to Revan and to Jolee when they're in there. So make sure you're doing that. This wave right here, this is not a very difficult tier to get through. It's just 4 waves of characters. There's not even really kind of a focus on which characters to get out first. You've got the bruisers that are more of tanks, and then the saboteurs, they do a little bit more damage, so you probably can focus on them before the bruisers if you can get around the taunts. But this is a very easy wave to get through. Even at low gear, you're not going to have any issues with this. All right, Tier 3 is much of the same as Tier 2. This one's not very difficult to get through. Just make sure you have Bastila in the leadership slot. Make sure you're pushing all of those buffs from Bastila over to Revan, and then you're really just kind of swapping back and forth as much as you can between Bastila and Revan to put out DPS here. But this is a pretty easy one to get through as well. The soldiers have the taunts, and then these red guys here, the commandos, they all have AoE. These do a little bit more damage, and you'll face these in later tiers there where they're a little bit more stronger. So you're going to want to kind of, I try to focus on the commandos over the soldiers when I can, because the commandos do quite a bit more damage. But this one right here, you shouldn't have an issue with at all. All right, so this is the tier where it starts to get more difficult. You do have Jolee in the team at this point, though, so it does help out. But these soldiers and the commandos do hit quite a bit harder in this tier for lower level characters. So this is where the gear level starts to go up, and you're going to want to just make sure that you've got decent gear on your Jolee and your Bastila Shan. Like I said, again, make sure Bastila is in the leadership slot, and a lot of this is just going to be pushing damage back and forth, just like you were doing before between your Bastila and your JKR, and then Jolee. Make sure you're using those assists. I try to push them over towards Bastila if I've got a good geared Bastila, but if she's not as geared as the event unit JKR, make sure you're pushing those assists over to JKR instead. But this one is kind of focus on the commandos where you can, then focus on getting the soldiers down after that, and then in the last wave there is a Sith assassin with a couple of commandos. You can either go after the commandos first, or you can go ahead and go after the assassin. Either way, both of them kind of do around the same amount of damage. But this one is where gear starts coming into play a little bit if you're trying to do this at very low gear, because all of these characters do AoE abilities, and if you're at low health because of gear and stuff, you can start having some issues here. Thankfully, Jolee is added in this tier, so at least with the Jedi characters, you can get some revives in if you have the Zeta on his ability. If you don't, then you're just mainly using him for healing. But I highly recommend that Zeta anyway, just because it's such a good Zeta to have for your JKR lineup. All right, we've made it to the final tier. This one you're facing a Rancor on steroids, and if you've got decent JKR or decent Bastila and decent Jolee, you can definitely make it through this one pretty easily. One of the good things about this, though, is you're able to mitigate a lot of damage, just like you did in the first one, by using Missions Blind, because he will do an AoE ability here and do quite a bit of damage on your entire team if you don't have that blind up. Now, he's got this carapace, hardened carapace here, that you have to critically hit him 3 times before you start doing decent damage to him. But after you get through that, you're able to kind of start going through him. He does have quite a big health pool. You'll notice here, did miss out on a bunch of damage there because of the blinds. But this is a one of those you just kind of grind through. If you've got, like I said, if you've got good Bastila, good Jolee, you're not really going to have any issues here. It's just taking the time to get through this. Use those blinds when you can. The carapace will come back up from time to time. You just have to get those crits to get that to drop off, and then after that you're going to be doing normal damage. But just grind it out from here, and you will be unlocking your Jedi Knight Revan. Alright guys, that is it. Thankfully this is one of the easier events to get through, and I highly recommend just kind of focusing on getting your gear up for Bastila and Jolee. Now, when you go after Darth Revan later on, you are going to need gear for your mission in Zalabar, so don't fret if you have to put gear on those characters, because eventually you will go after Malak and you will need gear for those characters, but they're definitely not needed for this event. If you have your Bastila Shan and Jolee probably around gear 10, gear 11, that's going to be enough to carry you through most of these tiers with hardly any issues at all. If you've got any questions, leave those down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.